The Zephyrian delegation waited in their pristine white diplomatic vessel, its hull gleaming against the backdrop of distant stars. Admiral Vexithara adjusted her ceremonial robes, the golden threads catching the soft blue light of the ship's interior. After 3 cycles of brutal warfare across the outer rim, the humans had finally agreed to negotiations. "The human fleet approaches, Admiral," reported Navigation Officer Keth Moore, his 4 eyes tracking the sensor readings. 17 vessels, including their flagship Defiance. Vexithara nodded, her mandibles clicking in what passed for satisfaction among her species. The Terran coalition had proven surprisingly resilient for such a young species, but even they must recognize the futility of continued resistance against the galactic hegemony's superior numbers and technology. The human fleet materialized from hyperspace in perfect formation, their angular gray vessels looking crude compared to the elegant curves of Zephyrian engineering. Yet something about their disciplined approach made Vexithara's secondary heart skip a beat. "They're maintaining combat spacing," observed tactical analyst Mordun, his voice carrying a note of confusion. "Standard diplomatic protocol requires—" "I'm aware of the protocols," Vexithara interrupted, though she too found the formation troubling. Perhaps humans simply lacked proper diplomatic training. After all, they'd only achieved faster-than-light travel 2 centuries ago. The communication array crackled to life, and the weathered face of Admiral Sarah Chen appeared on the main screen. Her gray hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and her dark eyes held an intensity that made Vexithara uncomfortable. "Admiral Vexithara," Chen said, her voice carrying clearly across the void. "Thank you for accepting our request for negotiations." "Admiral Chen," Vexithara replied, inclining her elongated head in what she hoped passed for a respectful gesture. "The galactic hegemony is always willing to discuss terms of surrender with—" "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding," Chen interrupted, her expression hardening. "We're not here to surrender." Before Vexithara could respond, her tactical officer's voice cut through the bridge chatter. "Admiral, the human vessels are powering weapons systems." The main screen shifted to display tactical readings as 17 human warships simultaneously brought their armaments online. Railguns, missile pods, and energy weapons, all pointing directly at the Zephyrian diplomatic fleet. "This is highly irregular," Vexithara sputtered, her voice rising to a screech. "We are here under a flag of truce. Your species claims to value honor, yet—" "Oh, we do value honor," Admiral Chen said, her voice cold as vacuum. "That's exactly why we're here." The human fleet began advancing, maintaining their aggressive formation. Vexithara's bridge crew exchanged nervous glances, their usual composure cracking. "Admiral Chen, I demand an explanation for this breach of diplomatic protocol." Vexithara's ceremonial robes rustled as she leaned forward, her alien features contorted with indignation. Chen's smile was sharp as a vibroblade. 3 days ago, your forces bombarded the civilian colony on Kepler 442b. 17 million people, Admiral. Men, women, children, all vaporized because they refused to submit to hegemony rule. "That was a military necessity," Vexithara protested, though her voice lacked conviction. "The colonists were harboring resistance fighters." "The colonists were farmers and miners," Chen replied, her knuckles white as she gripped her command chair. "And yesterday, your fleet glassed New Geneva, another 12 million souls, including my daughter's family." The temperature on the Zephyrian bridge seemed to drop several degrees. Vexithara's crew began backing away from their stations, instinctively seeking escape routes that didn't exist in the vacuum of space. "You called for peace talks," Chen continued, her voice growing more menacing with each word. "You expected us to come here, hat in hand, ready to negotiate the terms of humanity's subjugation. But here's what you failed to understand about our species, Admiral. The human fleet was now within optimal firing range, their weapons locked onto every hegemony vessel. When someone kills our children," Chen said, her voice barely above a whisper but carrying the weight of an executioner's axe, "we don't negotiate. We don't forgive. We don't forget." "Wait," Vexithara shrieked, abandoning all pretense of dignity. "This is murder. We came here in good faith." "Good faith?" Chen laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You came here expecting us to roll over and play dead. Instead, you're about to learn why every sentient species in this galaxy should fear the sound of human battle hymns." The Defiance fired first, its main railgun sending a tungsten slug through the heart of the hegemony command ship. The other human vessels opened fire simultaneously, their coordinated assault turning the diplomatic meeting into a massacre. Vexithara watched in horror as her escort fleet died around her, their shields failing under the relentless human barrage. The species that had conquered half the galaxy in the name of peace and unity were being torn apart by a collection of primitive apes who should have been extinct decades ago. "How?" she gasped, her ship shuddering as human missiles found their mark. "How did you locate our main fleet? These were supposed to be neutral coordinates." Chen's image flickered on the dying screen, her smile now genuinely terrifying. "Did you really think we'd come to peace talks without knowing exactly where every one of your ships was hiding? We've been tracking your fleet movements for months, Admiral. Every supply depot, every rally point, every escape route." The Zephyrian flagship began to list as its engines failed, secondary explosions rippling through its hull. "The difference between your species and mine," Chen said as alarms wailed in the background, "is that when you wage war, you call it peacekeeping. When we wage war, we call it what it is: total annihilation of our enemies." Vexithara's final transmission was cut short as human torpedoes found her ship's reactor core. The explosion lit up the void like a newborn star, its light carrying a message to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity had not come to the negotiating table to surrender. They had come to declare war on gods, and the gods were starting to realize they might lose.